So this picture, you guys, it's beautiful. This picture is a validation that I have had a child live and die. If you look closely at this picture, you can see there's blood underneath my armpit from trying to save his life. You can see there's dirt underneath his fingernails. This is clearly a picture of a dead baby's hand resting on his mom's chest. It's clearly a picture of that. But oh my God, is it beautiful. In fact, I think it's so profound and I think it's so important that I put it up in my house. I have a now 10 and an 8-year-old, and I thought, I'm going to show them this picture, and I'm just going to see how they feel about it. And if they feel it's appropriate, I'm going to ask them if it's okay if I put it on the wall. And it was. I asked Megan. Megan's my very in touch with her emotions child. And I was like, hey, Megan, what do you think about this picture? And she's like, oh, that's Mason's hand. And I was like, yeah, kind of shocked. Yeah, it's Mason's hand. And she's like, that's the last time that his body was on the earth, right, Mom? And I was like, yes, it is. And I said, can I get this on our wall? Would you mind? And she's like, oh, no, I love it. I love it. I'll just give him a high five when I go past it. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. I literally look at this picture every single day. It's more beautiful to me than so many things. Does death suck? It totally sucks. And it's heartbreaking, and it's unbearable, and it doesn't feel good. But I think in these unimaginable situations, I think that there's things that we can do. I think that there's things that we can do to make the death better. Now, I think coming to you guys and talking about this death experience, the only reason that I'm able to do that is because in his death experience, I got all the tools that I needed to help me heal. And so after his death, I was like, what helped me feel good about this? Why do I feel broken but complete? There has to be something to it. And so I started going to workshops with women who have lost children. And I started hearing death stories. I'm like, just tell me what worked. Tell me what didn't work. Tell me what you did. Tell me how your heart is. Tell me how you live. Can you take a deep breath? Tell me all of the things. And what I found is that everybody that has a good death has certain things in common. So I'm here to transform the way death is done. Okay? So I think that saturating the senses in a death situation is totally necessary. So we have 5 senses, right? I always forget the last one, so I wrote them down because I feel like a nerd when I'm like, I don't. So sight. We have to saturate all their senses. So sight. Let them see their loved one die. Okay? Smell. We all know what a dead person smells like, even if we've never smelled it. Taste. Let them kiss their child's hand for the last time. Hearing. Let them hear you try. Let them hear the panic in your voice trying to save their loved one's life. And then, by far, the most important is touch. Let them feel the warmth leave their loved one's body. In order for us to heal, in order for us to take a step forward, in order for us to breathe the next day, we have to believe that the death is true. We have to know that they have died. Bring them in. I think in healthcare in general, every single day of the week, we help people live well. And I'm going to say live well very loosely, because when I'm doing open heart surgery for the 9th time on a 94-year-old woman, I'm like, you got to question that. Well, yeah, it's our job to help people live and live well. But it's also our job, and much more profound and much more human, if we can help them die well. So I talk to people and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to give you some tools and you're going to go out and you're going to do these things in death. You're going to involve the moms. You're going to saturate the senses. You're going to make a difference. Our job, like no one came to us and said as healthcare professionals, like, okay, well, yeah, you're going to have to fight for the family. You're going to have to get into a death experience and really, really try to make it better. No one said that. And quite frankly, if we did say that, I think like 90% of the people I work with would never have gotten into healthcare because it's something that inevitably happens, but we're all scared of. We don't get into healthcare to help people die. Well, some of us do, and you're amazing human beings. We get into healthcare because we think that we can help people live, right? We want to take care of humans. So I want you guys to fight to get into the death experience. Like I want elbows slinging, and you're getting in there because you know how to make death a little bit better. I think another really important aspect, another really important tool to have in death is deeply explaining what's happening. Okay, I had a phone call from a panicked anesthesiologist that he just called me out of the blue, and he's like, Jessica, I need your help. Come down to the emergency department. You need to bring the pediatric airway cart. Get here now. I need you. And this particular anesthesiologist, he never panics. He's always calm, cool, and collected. And so I ran down to the emergency department with my pediatric airway cart, and I pushed it into the room. And as I walked in, he successfully intubated the patient. And so he was no longer panicked. I was no longer needed. And I'm looking around at this situation, and here is a 3-year-old child getting CPR, just intubated. I'm like, well, okay, where's dad? Where's mom? Where's grandma? Where's auntie? And I look around, and there was a father in the corner. Like he had a table in front of him. The curtain was drawn. There was a chair, and there was about 150 people in the room. So he was in the corner, just standing there, could not see a thing in the corner. And I was like, what the hell, guys? Like, we've done this. We've talked about this. Is that an invitation into the death experience? No, he's not invited in. So I went over to him, and I told him my name. I said, hey, I'm Jessica. I'm one of the charge nurses here. Can I answer any questions for you? And in asking him this, I grabbed his hand, and I stood with him at the foot of the bed. And in standing there, he's like, yeah, I have questions. What in the hell is going on here? And I was like, okay. His baby was getting CPR, so I thought he probably knew that she was dying. And I said, well, your baby's heart has stopped beating, and we are doing everything that we can to help it beat again. And he goes, wait, her heart has stopped? And I was like, yeah. And he said, doesn't she need that to live? And I was like, yeah. Your child is dying, and we're trying to save her because we want her to live too. And he then proceeded to ask 4 million questions, like, what's that thing in her mouth? What are those pads doing? Why is he poking my daughter? All of these things. And so I answered all of his questions, and then we're standing there. And the efforts at this point have minimalized. Everyone in the room recognizes that the baby is dead, except him. So I'm standing there, and I was like, I am the most awkward person you will probably ever meet. Like, I say really awkward things. Today I showed up, my dress was unzipped. It was like, I'm just weird. I'm a weird, awkward person. So we're standing there, and I was like, I need to have him touch his daughter's foot. So he got to the bed, and he grabbed her foot, and then he kissed her foot, and he could tell that she was cold. And he just kept going up and touching her and feeling her. I left that situation feeling better about that death. Did I go home and feel happy or joyful? No, I totally didn't. But I went home knowing that this man would now have a foundation for healing. this man would know that his daughter is dead, for sure. And he would be able to transform that into healing, into the new version of him. So we have to deeply, deeply explain our efforts. Pictures. Is it awkward for you guys to take pictures of the dead in Brazil? Is that, no, it's an okay thing? So we've struggled. It's not okay. Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I was like, wow, you guys are so progressive. What am I even doing here? Okay, goodbye. Just kidding. What I've learned is that the picture is awkward. So when you go to ask somebody, especially with their children, and you say, would you like to take a picture of your dead child? People are like, get away from me. Who are you? Get the hell out of my room. And so I've gotten that quite a bit. So now I think it's pretty funny that my pediatric intensive care unit will now call me and have me ask about the pictures post-death. Because they're like, Jess, listen, I know you think it's really great, but I don't want to get shot down. So you come up and get shot down. Now I do it a little differently. And what you guys can do is you guys can say, hey, I went to a conference, and there was a woman there who lost her child. I lost Mason 3 years and 6 months ago, 3.5 years. I have literally looked at this picture every single day for 3.5 years. It feels that good. I don't look at this picture and feel overwhelming sadness. I look at this picture and feel joy that I've had a son. So you can say that. You can say, listen, I went to this conference. She was kind of weird, but it seems like the picture of her son's hand or her son's foot really made a difference. The worst thing that could happen, right, is somebody like throat punches you or something when you ask this question. And there's a lot of passion in death, right? So you really could get a little weird. But honestly, I'm not scared of weird anymore. And so when I go and ask families, and I'll bring a camera, like a disposable camera, and I'll say, hey, my heart feels whole again when I look at the picture of my dead son's hand on my chest. I just wanted to say that to you, and I'm going to leave you with a camera. And you can take pictures with your cell phone. This is up to you. I'm just telling you that this is an option to help you grieve. And typically, if you say it like that, you're not saying, if you come out and be like, hey, so you want a picture of your son? They're going to be super pissed. But if you place it as like, here's a camera, you can use your phone. If you want to, this helps people grieve. The reason the camera is good, what I've heard from families, is they never have to develop the film. They can take, I think it's 26 pictures on a roll of film, and they never have to develop it. They can keep it in the closet. They can do whatever they want. So that's a really nice thing. One lady actually told me that she left the camera with a nurse that helped take care of her child, and she said, okay, yeah, you can take the pictures, but I don't want this camera, so you keep it. And she was kind of mad at the nurse, for even asking. You take the pictures. So the nurse did. She dressed up the baby, and she put him in a beautiful outfit, and she took pictures. 3 years later, the mom contacted the nurse. And give me goosebumps. When she got the film developed, obviously it's very emotional, but she said that it was the most profound, most beautiful gift anyone has ever given her. Pictures are important. So the holding your baby, do a lot of you deal with pediatrics here? Or, yeah. So most of us don't do pediatric cases, right? Most of us are with adults. So holding your baby when they're a baby is easy. But what happens when your baby's 35? Okay, that's when it gets a little uncomfortable. What the nurses did recently for how old was he? 31-year-old man, is he had shot himself in the head, and he was very clearly dead. They orchestrated a little bit of death, but just to let the mom kind of see them do it and give her contentment that everything was done that he could. After the patient was pronounced dead, the nurses were like, shoot, what do I do? Like, holding your baby is really, really important, and Jessica's taught us all these things, and what do we do? And what they ended up doing is bringing a gurney up next to the 31-year-old. And his mom laid in bed with him for, I think she was 45 minutes. I was like, hell yeah, you guys, that's it. I didn't do that. That's my friends in the emergency department. They helped orchestrate this death. That lady was so blown away by it. She ended up, she wrote a letter to our CEO. She made a huge deal about it. She thanked everyone. And her big pull was, I just needed to be next to his cold body so I could believe it. I just didn't believe it. So for those of you that came to the workshop, I'm sorry about some of the questions I asked you because they're uncomfortable, but I want you guys to start the conversation, okay? And in starting this conversation, I want you to go home and talk to your husband or your wife or your mom and your dad, and I want you to act like somebody that you love more than anything in the entire world has died. I want you to create your gold standard death story. I told you Mason's, but I think that yours will probably be different. I want you to create your gold standard death story and then bring it to work. Bring it to work and help somebody have that someday. Ultimately, what I find when I ask people to do this, I find that they do want to see what's happening. They do want to hear what's going on in the room. They want to touch their loved one. They do want to do all these things. And so hopefully Mason's story will give you some tools to put in your toolbox to bring out at a later day. So bottom line is we need to be running into death. Can we change the outcome? A lot of times in trauma, we can't. A lot of times we can't change the outcome, but we can change the experience. So run into death. Try to give them a good death, a better death, so they can heal. So my new approach to death is obviously a little bit different. Do I remove the family from the room? No, unless they ask me to. If somebody says, I can't do this, can you take me? I'll take them. Am I judgmental? No way. Something that we've been fighting in our hospital is a suicide. There's a lot of suicide, and there's a lot of judgment around suicide. When people come down for patients that have committed suicide, actually, in my community, I'm trying to not say committed suicide and trying to say death by suicide, because when you're talking to a mom or a dad or a brother or a sister that has a victim of suicide, they think you're kind of like committing them to a crime. So when somebody comes in with death by suicide, people treat that situation like crap. They treat the people like they deserved it, they wanted it, they're the ones that did this, why should I care? The bottom line is they are somebody's son or daughter or mom or dad. They are loved insanely by somebody. It does not matter how somebody dies. It does not matter. What matters is we try to do it better. We are handed a shitstorm, and we need to somehow make it a little bit more feasible for somebody to heal. So try to do it a little better. Am I nonchalant? In death, I can't be nonchalant anymore because I have so much. I just think it's inappropriate. So I don't drop to my knees and start screaming with the families, but I let them see emotion. I let them know that I care because I truly do, and I'm truly sad when somebody dies. But I let them see me cry. I let them just hear that experience. The bottom line is we need to prepare, and by prepare I mean have the conversation with your loved ones. Create your gold standard death story. And then inviting the family into the room, saturating their senses, this empowers them. Whenever we invite somebody in and we grab their hand and we're like, okay, we're in this together, and we walk them in, you invite them in, empower them to make their own decisions. And the bottom line is healing. And this time I'm not talking about healing for the family, because I believe it to be true. If you have a better death experience, you set a foundation for healing. I'm talking about healing us, healing the healthcare professionals that do this day in and day out. If you can orchestrate a better death story for family members, then you can go home and feel a little bit better about what you've done. Healing. This is Mason blowing a kiss, saying goodbye. That's a very intense story. And I congratulate you all for showing up and just allowing yourself to sit through this and allowing yourself to be uncomfortable. Because I truly believe we cannot grow into a better version of ourselves unless we're a little uncomfortable.